There's a village, not on any map, not in any storybook, where everyone died, not from war, not from famine, but because they fed the devil. And here's the twist, they thought they were feeding God. This isn't just a parable, it's a prophecy, and it's happening again. You're living in it, and in the end, the only thing more dangerous than the devil is a genius who thinks he's God. Once there was a man they called the genius. He solved every problem but couldn't solve himself. He warned of what was coming, the death of meaning, the corruption of beauty, the sterilization of wisdom. No one listened. He collapsed. But before he disappeared, he told us a story. In a forgotten place, two men, proud, rich, powerful, sat at a golden table. They had everything except hunger. So when a poor, old woman offered them bread, they spat on it. They mocked their hunger, cursed her hands, and laughed. That night, the earth cracked. The table turned to ash, and the two of them died. Not because of the woman, not because of a curse, but because they were already hollow. That story wasn't fiction, it was a mirror. Socrates was the first to challenge an empire, not with swords, but with questions. They called him the wisest, not because he knew everything, but because he admitted he knew nothing. They poisoned him for it. Then today, we praise his intelligence, but reject his wisdom. We fear silence, but drown in noise. We have more answers than ever, and fewer truths. The last genius saw that. He saw that we were raising a generation of minds with no soul, philosophers who couldn't feel, scientists who forgot wonder, leaders who couldn't weep. Now, listen carefully. There was a village, simple, honest, faithful. One day, a stranger arrived, soft spoken, well dressed, and full of ideas. He taught them new ways to pray, to eat, to think. He promised them peace, and they followed. He told them to offer food to a new God, so they did. Day after day, they brought their harvest, their labor, their children's laughter to the altar. They never noticed the altar was bleeding until one day the sky darkened. The crops failed, the children screamed, and the village died. Why? Because they mistook the devil's voice for God's approval. That village is us, feeding our minds to algorithms, feeding our youth to trends, feeding our souls to applause. But the story doesn't end in that, because the genius rose. He realized something after collapse, that the world never needed a perfect mind. It needed a broken man who chose to rebuild brick by brick, word by word. With pain as his blueprint, he became more than mind. He became myth, not to be worshipped, but to be remembered. And now he's telling his story again. This is a preview of something coming soon, a book that will shatter every single aspect of philosophy you've ever known. It won't give you comfort, it will give you confrontation. Not motivation, but madness. And from that madness, clarity. The Lost Genius Before Collapse, a book that questions God, defies reason, and dares to ask, what if the only way to rebuild the world is to burn your mind first? Prepare. The parables has begun. The collapse is coming, and you are not ready. This isn't just a story, it's the final echo of a collapsing mind. The collapse has already begun. And The Lost Genius Before Collapse is not a book, it's a warning wrapped in philosophy, rage, and truth. Subscribe now and hear the last voice.